We'll move on to the Ryanair Chase, and this is an interesting market as well. So, Matt, take it away with your trends and your thoughts on the race, and I'll get prices up.
So a couple of related trends here. In the last 13 renewals, the top two on BHA ratings, 9 from 31, 8.25% profit. It's been a shallow race. Only 2 of the 16 Grade 1 winners have gone off double-figure prices or from outside the top 3 in the SP market. They're Ante-Post prices to indicate which horses will go off at the front of the market on the day, but they can change a lot. Ratings can change too, but typically plenty of the runners will line up with their current rating. So the official ratings of the Ante-Post market leaders: Allahu 173, Stage Star 166, Envoy Lane 164, Banbridge 161, Appreciate It and Classic Getaway 156, Phil Law 155. Not included John Bond and El Fabiolo in that, not expecting them to turn up. On the basis you'd add £3 or £4 to the Irish marks for the likely BHA mark, then Stage Star, Envoy Lane and Banbridge all be pretty close together, a few pounds behind Allahu. His rating is largely based on form from 2 seasons ago. And out-of-date ratings can obviously be misleading. So the other trend is that in the last 12 renewals, horses that achieved a Racing Post rating of 170 plus that season, 9 from 21, 8.37% profit. Again, ignoring El Fabiolo and John Bond, the 2 qualifiers are Allahu 172 and Stage Star 171. With any trend with an arbitrary line like that, important not to take it literally. Banbridge is on 169 and Envoy Lane's on 167. You then got a drop down to 160 for Appreciate It. So this doesn't tend to be a deep contest. Focusing on obvious things like ratings, whether official or RPRs, can be a good strategy. And looking at this year's renewal, for me, the ground's vital here. I think Banbridge is the most likely winner on a sound surface, right up there with the best novice chasers over intermediate trips last season, scratched on the day of the Turners due to the soft ground. Hadn't had a setback, but missed his early options this season due to bad ground. On his return, he beat a race-fit 162 rated course specialist, Pitt Dorhey, a length and 3/4 at Kempton, getting £3 from the runner-up. Given he'd been ready to run for a while, it's hard to know how much he'll come on for that. But even the bare form makes him a player here. Decent level of improvement will make him a formidable opponent. And given the front of the SP market has such a strong record, I'm anticipating backing Banbridge on the day if he gets his ground. About 5.0 at the moment. Unless Allahu's scratched, he's not going to be that much shorter on the day. And timing is all important in Ante-Post betting. Given there's the material possibility he doesn't run, makes no sense to back him now. So it'll be with small stakes at the moment, given I think it's odds on Banbridge will run, and therefore I'm likely to back him. There are a few I don't fancy here, so I'm going to take a flyer on the unexposed Classic Getaway. Cost a whopping £570,000 after bolting up on a point. Hacked up on his rules debut in a bumper in May 2021. Clearly been fragile, and he didn't make his hurdles debut until the following January, when Willie Mullins bizarrely pitched him into an open minor conditions race on absolutely bottomless ground at Clonmel. That looked to take the edge off him for that season. Last season came back, won a hot beginner's chase at Gore and easily sing off Manella Kakuna, then had another setback. Willie said it was a rush to get him to punch us down, so I draw a line through that, especially as it was over an extended 3 miles. The Classic Getaway returned this season in a 2 mile 6 listed race at Thurles in late November, giving £4 to, easily accounting for a couple of mid-150s horses, Auton Claire, French Dynamite with James de Burley, Farrick Delane, Capadano, well beaten off. And he looked sure to follow up for much of the race in that 2 mile 7 event on New Year's Day I mentioned. That was on heavy ground at Tremor, didn't stay, collared by Jungle Boogie. Looked to have a hard race there. So before I was having a proper bet, I'd be listening to the vibes from Clesutton. The one advantage of that Tremor race is it made clear his stamina limitation, so he wasn't entered for the Gold Cup. So you know if he goes to Cheltenham, it should be the Ryanair. He looks to have proper open Grade 1 level ability, so he is a feasible winner. He's a chancy proposition. He's fragile, hard race at Tremor last time, and he is in the same ownership as Allahu. So whether they'll want Classic Getaway beating Allahu, you don't know. He's entered in the 2 mile 5 handicap at the DRF off 156, which suggests he's showing plenty at home. The Tremor race hasn't bottomed him. He's the one horse at a big price in this that I can see running to 170. So I'm prepared to take a small punt now on Classic Getaway and then reassess the race once the likely ground conditions become clearer.
Okay, in and around 44.0 mark there. Allahu around 3.35 favourite currently. Banbridge 5.6, Stage Star 8.6, Boy Allen 9.2. Likes of John Bond, obviously an unlikely runner 20.0. 24.0 Appreciated and bigger prices the rest. And yeah, your thoughts on the Ryanair market, because some good points on Banbridge too. I think by and large people know now is a really good horse. He gets sort of crabs in a lot of places I see, but I think he's a brilliant horse. I even think that run in the DRF back last February behind El Fabiola was quite good, given it was only 2 miles.
Well, no, exactly that. I think they were kind of almost surprised by him that he was able to show the pace that he was over 2 miles, when obviously Martin Pipe winners traditionally, you'd be thinking more 3 milers. But I think he's continued to surprise in that respect. Like Matt, if Banbridge gets there and the ground is no worse than good to soft and it's raceable for him, I think he's definitely the play in the race. I think quite surprised by how good he was on his reappearance. It looked a really hot race. Obviously, Pic D'Orhy is a very solid, reliable conveyance, and I think he won a shade Cosley there on his seasonal reappearance. I thought that was a really impressive effort. Obviously, he's still lightly raced in that regard. I think there's more to come from him, and I just don't have any interest in Alaho. Again, he's very divisive, because I think anytime you almost say something like that or crab him, it seems like you're coming for the horse personally, but it's nothing to do with that. He's been superb down the years, and he's put in some absolutely breathtaking performances. But he's shown nothing this season to suggest he's the same horse that he was a couple of seasons ago. He's had 3 runs this season, 2 of them basically canters round when nothing dared challenge him. We learned nothing about him. And to say his only run, as we mentioned earlier, that was really a race was the King George, where he didn't really seem to go with the same zest, didn't even manage to get to the lead. It was a slowly enough run race as well, and would have finished 4th if Shishkin stood up. So I think it's really hard on that basis to think he should be such a short price for this as a 10-year-old who's had issues, who clearly isn't the force of old. He can run to a standard that's probably somewhere in the mid-160s, I would say, is where maybe his ceiling is now. And that could be enough to win a subpar renewal of this race. But there are some in behind, like Banbridge, who are progressive and younger, and I would generally prefer to side with those. Stage Star, I think, is just now getting to the stage where he's hard to trust. On his day, he's very impressive. I thought the winning the Paddy Power Gold Cup was very good, considering he had competition for the lead, and there was a few things that went against him, and he also made that terrible error at the last and managed to recover and win pretty convincingly. Obviously then just completely bombed out next time out, and people are going to blame the ground and the weight. To me, I'm not sure that's as much an excuse, because he just didn't seem to jump with the same fluency. He's had bomb-out efforts as a novice hurdler and a novice chaser, and now as a second season chaser. I think he's just getting to the stage where he is unreliable at the top level. Envoy Len, a lot of people have liked as a solid option, but like Alaho, he's 10 years old. Last year's renewal was pretty poor. The Shishkin didn't run his race. The likes of French Dynamite were only 5 lengths away. Hard to imagine, again, he would be up to winning a good renewal of this race. Appreciate it, probably won't be ridden positively because Alaho's in the race, and obviously Stage Star as well will make the running. So the one, a bigger price that interests me would be Phil Dore. So he has formed this season behind Dino Blue and El Fabiolo over 2 miles, but he's always looked like that type to get further. And obviously, he was a very high-ranking juvenile hurdler, obviously second in the Triumph Hurdle, and obviously we know those juveniles tend to want further as they go on. His dam is a half-sister to Aplutard, who obviously kept getting further, was performing very well over 2 miles, but obviously in the end ended up a Gold Cup horse. He's only 6 years old. As it looks now, he will be Gordon Elliott's number 1 for this race. Still completely unexposed as a chaser and over trips of 2.5 miles. Last season, obviously, as a 4-5-year-old, was a bit of an awkward one, as it often is for horses of his age, but started the season over fences really well before reverting to hurdles. I think there's still more to come from him, and he's a big enough price to tempt me in, and he would be the way I'd be playing it at this stage, Ante-Post, because they've confirmed it's the target. But like Matt, come the day, Banbridge is on decent ground. He would definitely be my bet.
In and around 27.0, Phil Dore. Matt, a quick line on maybe Phil Dore and just runners in general, or how many horses we're probably expecting in the Ryanair. It's sort of in recent years cut up quite a lot on the day that you sort of go, I should have taken a swing maybe this time of year.
Yeah. I suspect this looking open, there might be a slightly bigger field. Alaho isn't going to scare horses off in the same way this year. Definitely see where Dan's coming on. Phil Dore, he's the one on the up. And as Dan said, he's now in the 5 to 6 season, where you often see these horses go on again. So I can see the case for him. Struggling to find outsiders to put up, as I mentioned. One who's, again, unexposed is Ashtree Meadow, who won the Galway Plate, hasn't been seen since. He is entered for this. He's about 70.0. Again, a bit like Banbridge, ground dependent, would want a sound surface, but goes fresh and is one of those horses on the up. It'd be interesting to see whether Gordon runs him as well.
Okay, Matt, so at the moment you'd probably stay away, or maybe Banbridge on the day. The likes of Envoy Allen 9.2, is that on the day? It's probably going to be in and around that price, maybe slightly shorter if it does cut up.
Yeah, slightly shorter, I think. And Banbridge will probably be a little bit shorter because you've got the uncertainty taken away, Ante-Post. But I don't think he is going to shorten that much, because a lot of people will back Alaho, I think, on the day, and he's going to hold the price up. I'm with Dan. If there's a sound surface, I'll almost certainly be backing Banbridge on the day.
Okay, Dan, and for you at the moment, Phil Door overpriced. If you were having a small play, maybe a small win/win place option.
Yeah, that would be it for me. And again, like Matt, come the day, Banbridge would be my current option on decent ground.
Okay, yeah, be interesting if they come for Allo on the day, and if he's put in a 3.0, does the money come for Allo? Then it's you're there sitting on Banbridge. Oh, do I trust the money or not? But yeah, fascinating race. We look forward to that. It's less than 2 months away, isn't it? The Cheltenham Festival.